Huh. So we're finally here on episode 8 of Modao Zushi, and I've honestly been dreading this episode. Not because I'm not excited for it, because I really, really am. It's because it's the season finale. And I know I have a lot more Modao Zushi that I'm going to get through, and I'll talk about that at the end of this reaction. But after this, we have to wait for season 3. Why? And the good news is, I feel like I've joined this fandom at the perfect time because it's coming out later this summer. So that's exciting. It's just the wait is going to be a little bit rough because I've just watched from December, from the start of this year on into summer here. I've watched the first 2 seasons of Modao Zushi and I've really enjoyed it week to week. And now it kind of sucks that I've got to wait till season 3 comes out. And someone in the comments said that there's at least 12 episodes guaranteed so far. I'm cool with that. It's better than 8. Hopefully we get, 3 more added on there and have a nice 15, maybe 24 like we have. But I'll be happy with whatever we get. It is the last season, so it's going to be, I've been told there's a lot of the novel left that they haven't adapted and that this final season won't cover it all. So I am excited to get to the novel because I think that'll be a lot of fun to read and go through. But like I said, we'll talk about that at the end of the reaction. So I took my post-it note and I narrowed it down to the questions I still hadn't had answered. Some of them surprisingly were answered in the last episode, so that was good. That was all right. So the questions that I have left going into this season finale, there's a lot. I know they won't all get answered, but it's fine. Who is Zhao? I know we've been introduced to Zhao. I've no clue what bearing he's going to have on the story, but a lot of y'all are excited about him. So apparently you've read the novel and he's a big deal in that. So hopefully in season 3 that gets explained. Why are people experimenting on corpses and chopping them up and re-putting them back together and making zombies? Why? This relates to whose arm is it that's been terrorizing this whole last season and a half? Whose arm? And I'm not counting the flashbacks. Who's the arm belong to? Is it related to the head that we saw back in episode 3 and episode 2? Who is wanting to expose the truth and who's trying to conceal it? Because we know at this point WangXian has been working to expose the truth about Wuxian's innocence. And it seems like someone is leading them on the way to find, someone is leading WangXian and Wuxian to find out these truths. But who is it? And who's the person that's been trying to hide the truths? So it's like, who is the mole? Who is maybe a double agent? Who is the actual traitor in all this? The game of Go in the opening. What is the significance of it? Who's playing Go? Why? We have Yao. We have Zishan. And we have Sushi. We know that Shishin and Yao are together. They're brothers, along with the older Ni brother that's passed. But where does Sushi come into play in all this? Obviously, Sushi, if it's the guy from the Lan clan from the past, he has a lot of enemies. He didn't like Chang. He didn't like Wuxian. He didn't like Zixuan. So he's very suspicious because he has a lot of enemies and he has lots of motivation to do these bad things. But why? How did this kid that could barely shoot an arrow become a master demonic arts master if it's him that's behind all of this? I have questions. 13 years after Wuxian's death. Why is this all happening 13 years after Wuxian's death? Why not a year after? Why has it taken this long for all this to happen? And why now? And it didn't really click to me until I was writing these questions down, but Mo Jianyu sacrificing his body and basically his soul to bring Wuxian back. Mo Jianyu is related directly to the Jin clan through his father. And his father is clearly a big player in all this. Even if he's not a player now, he was one of the founding, I believe, corrupt individuals that started this whole deal. So the significance of it being Daddy Jin's illegitimate son sacrificing his soul and body to bring Wuxian back is really important. Why him? Why now? Why did he just do it and was like, I screw my life, I'm bringing Wuxian back? What was the purpose of it? I think that he found out what was going on with the Jin clan somehow and was like, I'm bringing Wuxian back, and just went from there, but we don't know. Whose coffin was it out in those little castle and the man-eating castles? whose coffin was it? I think it's the older Knee brother's coffin because I think it's the older Knee brother's sword that was the one that they found. But that's my other question. Is it the elder Knee brother's sword, or is it someone else's? Because it's on the Knee grounds, so it makes sense that it would be there. And then Guesang, the younger brother, what's his deal? He's got the mockingbird. We still haven't gotten the full scoop with the mockingbird. What with it's the Minya or whatever its name is. What's up with that? So lots of questions coming from all sides of this. And I know this season finale is not going to, it's only a minute longer. It's not going to give us the answers to all these questions, but I'm going to keep this sheet that I've got here. I'm going to keep this for season 3, and whatever we don't answer, I'm going to come back and maybe hopefully season 3 will answer it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this episode. The last couple episodes were gut punches. Like, we've known all along that Zixuan and Yanli were going to die. We've known that from the start of this series. But it still hurt. It still hurt, and it hurts even worse because it's all tragic. It's all stuff that could have been avoided, and here we are. And it hurts because Wuxian can't be the uncle to baby Ling that he needed to be. And so now he's trying to vicariously live his nephew, be in his nephew's life, but he can't be himself. He's stuck in Mo Jianyu's body. And yeah, Chang knows who he is now. Wanji has finally let the cat out of the bag that he knows, but I don't want him telling too many people because then they're going to kill him again. So it's like, So yeah, season finale, guys, of season 2. And it's bittersweet because I'm sad that there's going to be a hiatus, kind of, after this episode, but then I'm still excited because the fact that we are getting some more Modao Zushi does make me happy. If this had been the series finale, I would have been gutted. I would have been so sad because I've been like, no! But the fact that we are getting more is exciting. So, let's dive in, shall we? Let's do this. We are going to start episode 8 of season 2 of Modao Zushi here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'll see you all on the other side. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh man, I really liked the ending of this because it just ties directly into season 3. They're like, okay, well, here we're gonna pick up where this leaves off. So it didn't feel like I hate the end of seasons and the end of series because it feels like it feels sometimes like it's just ending, and that makes me sad. And I'm like, oh, I don't want it to be ending. This didn't feel like that. This felt like, oh, this is just, ending of part 2. We're going to start part 3 in just a little bit. It'll be fine. We'll be back before you know it. And it's like, oh, and they really gave us a lot of exposition in this. A lot of exposition. Holy cow. So Zhao, with the blindfold over his eyes, looking quite sinister. I'm assuming that's him at the end of all this. I thought his robes and the robes that Sushi is wearing now seem similar. So are they if they are in the same boat, maybe they're in the same clan now together? I don't know. But Zhao looks badass, killing people with a single cut. Okay. So that kind of rules him out, though. I don't know what his role is yet in all of this, and please don't spoil me. I don't know Zhao's role, but I have the feeling that he's not the one cutting up bodies and reassembling them, because we've established that his sword just does one single cut and it's like, we're good, and you're dead. So, what is his role in all of this? So I'm going to write that down. What is his role? What is Zhao's role in all this? Why is someone experimenting on corpses? We still did that. We did get a little bit of explanation as to, it's not the Knee's brother's sword that's in the coffin, but it's an ancestral sword that's been passed down from generation to generation, and it causes a lot of destruction. And the current clan leader, Guesang, he's not about that, and so it's hurt him, and he's like, no, I'm just gonna use my fan as a weapon instead of the sword. which makes sense. And a lot of you have said that there's a reason that Wuxian doesn't have a sword with him, and I'm wondering if that's maybe tied to it. But we need to go back because that sword that was in the Jin family stash there, was that Wuxian's sword? Was it? I don't know. But man, the fact that it was the knee brother has been eavesdropping on them. Why? Why is Knee eavesdropping? That's what I want to know. He seems like the kind of character that wants to say that he knows nothing, but knows like all the secret knowledge. Like he wants to know what's going on, but he doesn't want to take part or have any responsibility with anything, is how he comes across to me. He just wants to be a fly on the wall, which is problematic, and I don't like it. I feel less suspicious about him. My suspicions about Yao increased a lot this episode. The knee brother, I don't know. I don't feel suspicious about the knee brother, about Huaisang, but then I do. Because I'm like, are you that dumb? Are you really that dumb? You're a terrible liar, and they totally know something's going on. So, like, Wangji the whole time doing that interrogation was like, really? You're really going to lie about this? Okay. I don't know. The fact that their clan leader, the whole butcher angle, tying back to the Knee family, makes me think that the whole cutting up and reassembling corpses has something to do with the Knee side of it. Because that whole thing about, you could have made the clan leader anything. Author, you could have made the clan leader anything. You could have made him a surgeon. Well, that would be the same thing. You could have made him like a blacksmith, for example. You could say, oh, he was a blacksmith. Kind of the same rudimentary, gritty, using your hands, vocational profession, right? But instead they specifically chose the term butcher. And that just seems to tie too well into this whole thing with the bodies. It ties too well into that. So I'm like, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And the Knee brother doesn't seem to quite be on the fact that it's Wuxian in Mo Jianyu's body. He's like, man, you're really quite knowledgeable about all this. And Wuxian's like, I'm glad that Wuxian becomes self-aware when around Yao, because he realizes like, oh yeah, Yao seems like he knows Mo Jianyu because they're brothers. He would, even though Mo Jianyu's an illegitimate brother, they still are brothers. They know each other. He's like, I should talk less, which I'm like, the fact that Wuxian is self-aware and realizes he should talk less is hilarious. But yeah, so he's like, okay, the Yao guy seems super suspicious of Wuxian, like, which if that was your brother, you would be. And we'll talk about this ending scene because I'm so suspicious, curious, wanting to know what the heck's going on. But yeah, so they take him they go to the castle basically, and back to the man-eating castle, the Saber Hall, which I'm assuming it isn't some man-eating castle, it's a Saber Hall. So they're like, huh? And I like that throughout all this, Chang is still looking for Ning and Wuxian. The man's detection skills, sleuthing skills, Chang, you can't find them in the city? Xishan and Yao found them instantly. So, but then again, they were also looking for the Knee brothers. Maybe that was something with it too. But yeah, so I'm assuming that these, oh gosh, so many questions. So Sushi, if he's the guy that's been employing all of these spies, and the spies have got the ulcerating curse on them, is Sushi the one that's applying the curse? And if that's the case, then is he the demonic cultivator throughout all of this? I still it's so weird to believe that that little scrawny kid that Wangji and Wuxian had to save in the past and that could barely fire an arrow within a couple years was suddenly a master demonic cultivator. Really? That seems so weird to me, unless it was all just an act, but... So the key deviation, they met bloody ends. The Sabers were heavily influenced by aggressiveness and killing intent. So I guess they couldn't handle the power of the Sabers. I'm rewatching this episode as I'm talking with y'all. And it only deems one person as its master, and when its master's alive, it can be restrained, but once the master dies, if it's not fed with fiends, it will cause trouble. And so that's why they've been supplying the corpses to keep it in check. Yep. Okay. Okay. That's the whole man-eating castle legend that they constructed to keep people away. Ah, interesting. And so that's why the zombies and the ghosts that were in the man-eating castle were unfamiliar, because they were just kind of dumped there like, oh, here's this sacrifice. And then we have to think about the grave robbers, and they mistook the Saber Hall as a tomb. And that's what caused the blast. But the grave robbers... Here's the thing. We see the shadow of the grave robbers. Is it connected to all of this? And the feral hand and everything? That's still kind of suspicious. Even if the older Nee brother doesn't quite know what's going on, that's still suspicious. And I like that when Xishan and Yao find him, he's like, I don't know anything this time. Like, he's been collecting information for them, which makes me think that they've been using him and the bird to collect information and then just get it whenever they need to. So I'm not totally convinced that Xishan's off the hook yet. I feel a lot better about him this episode, especially that he's okay with Wangji and Wuxian and Mo's body. But Yao is very suspicious of Wuxian. And Wuxian, you can say that you're keeping quiet for right now, but I don't know if that's going to help. So, yeah, someone sent swords to kill the Nee brother, and I'm assuming it was Sushi. But the whole idea of who is aligned with who in this, and who is aligned with who in the past, is so intriguing in this show. Because what I was thinking was, if it's Sushi that's behind all of this, as far as the demonic cultivation goes, if he's the one in the Land Clan robes with Daddy Jin, is Yao the other one that was on the other side with him? Because Yao is super suspicious of Wuxian. He is super suspicious of Mo Jianyu and Wuxian's body. He's like, you're not acting like my brother. My brother wasn't a demonic arts user. What are you doing? Like, it's cool that you've switched, but funny that's something. And he's connecting the dots, because when we get that after credit scene, he's like, so a big sacrificial, spell here to sacrifice your body. It's funny because my brother didn't use any demonic arts, and then suddenly now he is after, this sacrificial spell was cast. Funny that. So I think he's on to Wuxian, or definitely is kind of in the boat of thinking, yeah, it's basically him. So, but if Sushi's casting the ulcerating curse, that would explain things, but it may not be Sushi casting the curse. It may be like if he's working with Yao, Yao could still be casting the curse, and Sushi could just be like, oh, I'll have him take it away once you do X, Y, and Z. I don't like the fact that the curse mark came back on Wuxian. I didn't like that at all. I wondered if... It seems like the ghost hand and stuff keeps, like, making it come back and, like, agitating it. So I'm like, is that going to be a thing? Because it sounded like by the end of it, though, that Xishan gave him the pill that was going to cure him. So I'm like, thank goodness, medicine man Xishan, for bringing him that, because that was going to be annoying if it kept coming back. But the bodies are all sewn together. And it's been to harbor all this resentful energy. So I'm like, And it's none of them are the ones missing the arm, so it's not them. Interesting. Yeah. And then Yao. Yao seems a little bit protective of Ning, but maybe that's just an act. I don't know. And then we'll cut ahead here to the grave robbers and what happened. And Wanji seems to not know. What puzzles me is that Wanji doesn't seem to realize who Sushi was. And maybe he was just a clan member that wasn't that well known. Or maybe he faked his death. Maybe they're like, oh, he died. But that part was a little bit suspicious, where I was like, Wanji, surely you remembered him. But Wuxi doesn't remember him either, so... And then they're piecing together the misinformation about Daddy Jin. And clan leader Nee thought that the ulcerating curse should be investigated first. So that's suspicious that Wanji and the elder Nee brother thought that the curse should be investigated. Funny that, because the Nee brother dies. So I'm wondering if the Knee brother did investigate, figured out what was going on, and then met an unfortunate and untimely death. I'm guessing that's what happened. And Wanji just doesn't know that that's what happened. So somebody killed the Knee brother, but it's like, who? And why? And I like that we have this really soft moment where I'm sorry, I don't know why, but when Wanji like pushed the robes back for a brief second, and this makes no sense, for a brief second I thought he was taking the robes off, and I was like, are we about to do something? And I'm sure all of you are thinking, save it for the novel. Because I can't wait to get to the novel and see the, I've been told that things get spicier in the novel. In this episode, I could see moments where that would have happened. And I'm really curious now. So, yeah. So the mastermind behind the forbidden sacrificial ritual that summoned me must know the truth. So, there has to be a connection between... There has to be a connection between the older Knee brother dying and Mo Jianyu sacrificing his body to bring Wuxian back. There has to be a connection there. And I'm thinking that the elder Knee brother found out the truth and told Mo Jianyu, or Mo Jianyu found out through someone that the Knee brother told and was like, yep, we got to bring Wuxian back. So that's my theory, is that the elder brother found out too much information and was to keep quiet. I'm glad that Wanji has his water Ouija board with him, that we can use it to try to find some answers. I appreciate that. That's good times. And I appreciate that Wuxian is using his flute. Like, they're using their powers together, which I really like. And the Zishan brother, they both kind of progress. They're both like, hey, you know, if you're going to use the demonic arts to help people and help Wanji, then yeah, sure, okay. I kept thinking in this last scene where they're in the Knee territory, I kept thinking it was going to transform into a Cornetto ad, and I was fully prepared for it, but it didn't. They did not give us a Cornetto ad. I kept thinking it was going to transition into one. But we get here more of the unreliable narrators and the townspeople making gossip about the Yiling Patriarch. And I like that Wuxian's like, man, it's already my fault again? Ugh. And he's like, the Yiling Patriarch was killed by his legions of ghosts. And then, so Wanji, we don't get how Wuxian died specifically in this. They're keeping that a secret for the third season, which I'm like, And Wanji's like, it's believed that your legion of ghosts turned on you and killed you, but my findings at the burial ground say that that's not true. So what happened? And Wuxian won't say. He's like, I just died. That's all. And it's like, oh, you're going to leave us this flashback for next season, aren't you? We're not done with the flashbacks. Of course we're not. He says, it doesn't matter how I died. And he smiles while saying that, which is weird to me. So it's almost like he intended it himself. And I really like this toy for some reason. He has that thing. So are we implying that Wanji as a kid gave him that toy? Are we implying that? I need to go back and we need to see that preview a little bit closer then, because they don't make it explicit. We see the snow. We see the snow and the kid with the toy. And he says, Dad, Mom, and Asian. Which is him. And it's just a little dirty baby Wuxian. And then he sees the kid with the toy. And I'm like, why is baby Wanji walking around in this deserted village? Like, Fengmian, are you babysitting all these kids and just letting them walk into abandoned towns? What are you doing? Are these clan leaders just letting their kids walk around wherever? I mean, it looks like Wanji that gives him the toy. And that's where you choose to end the season. Like, what? So, okay, the end credit scenes in this episode were really, really good. Okay, so I'm going to go backtrack. Okay, I want to backtrack and look on this. So, there are writings all over the wall here, and all of these symbols that have been on the talismans. So, there's all of those on the wall there. And, of course, it's Yao that goes in there. And the tapestry says spirit lure array. So suspicious in this bookshelf with all the scrolls and everything. And he's been writing all these scrolls. And so forbidden sacrificial ritual. Blood as the medium, hand as the means, body as an offering, soul returns to dust. So, hand as means, body as the offering. So it means you have to do it with your hand. You have to scribe the stuff on there with your hand. And then with blood, your body's offered and your soul returns to dust. So Yao has this, and he looks super suspicious, and we see that sword, Wei Wuxian, and that's Wuxian's sword. I almost guarantee that that's his sword on display. So the question is, where in the world are they? Where is Yao at? Is he in, like, is there a library of all the demonic cultivation and all the files that they have stored, and he's looking through that, and that's where he finds the blood ritual, and he's like, my brother is stupid enough to have done this and brought Wuxian back. So Yao knows. Yao pretty much knows and is on to what's happening. And then we cut back to Yi City, which I heard people talking through the grapevine on Twitter that the arc, people kept saying Yi City arc, and I was like, I don't know what that means. Now we know what it means. But this guy was struck down by a single cut, and it's the snow cut, the snow flower, the frost flower, snow sword cut. And then we get this mysterious man entering in this battlefront and turning around and seeing him. And yeah, he's got his sword. And his design is so freaking cool. Like, it's kind of like the Land Clan robes, but they're not. They're little, like, they have the S on them. And he has his whole eye, his eyes are shielded by the head wrap. And then he smiles and he looks so sinister. But he looks like a Land Clan member, but he's not. So is he the demonic cultivator? Because here's the thing. The guy used the frost flower cut is blue, like bright blue. And a lot of his design is very similar to the Land Clan. And the demonic cultivator, the demonic arts user that was framing Wuxian was using bright blue flame. So that would match him. So maybe it's not Sushi. Maybe it's this guy. Maybe it's Zhao that is the demonic arts user. I don't know. I've had questions answered, questions kind of hinted at, and then more questions occurring. So that seems par of the course. But man, guys, oh my gosh. There's so much left unsaid. And for the record, I love that Wuxian and Wanji are in a much healthier relationship. They're working together. They're going to solve this mystery. The feral hand, we still don't know whose hand it is, whose arm it is. I want to suspect that it's the older Ni brothers, but I don't know. I want to suspect that it's his arm, but I don't know. It could be the Jin uncle that had the ulcerating curse. I don't know either. Oh man. And then Yao is still very, 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 very suspicious. Jishin, I'm unreadable on his situation and all this. He trusts Yao a lot, and that concerns me, because if Yao's behind all this, I have a feeling he's going to turn on Jishin, and that's going to be bad. And then the younger Ni brother, who I sang, he just seems like he's a bumbling idiot that's a pawn in all this. He just seems like the pawn that's being used, and just Yao is using him however he needs to get information or whatnot. That just is how it comes across to me, but man, the wait for season 3 is gonna be really hard. It just is, because I want to like tune in next week and start season 3 and be like, yeah, let's do this. But so in the meantime, what I have planned is I want to the Modao Zushi, the Chibi series. I want to watch it because I've heard it's adorable. I don't know how many episodes it is yet. I haven't opened up or looked at that series yet. I've just heard about it, but I want to react to it. I think there's somebody said there was like 30 or 31 episodes, but they're like really short episodes, so I could probably do like a big chunk of them all at once and just do that. That seems like it would make more sense, I guess. And then I want to start watching The Untamed. I know that it deviates a lot from the novel, but it's its own thing. But it is an adaptation, and a lot of you have requested it, and so I do want to watch it. I've never done a live action reaction before, so this will be interesting. And then the novel and the audio drama. So it would be hard for me to read, and I don't think y'all want to see me sit there and read or sit there and listen to an audio drama. But what I want to do is do like segments where I read certain chapters. I get to a certain point, I'll stop and do a review of it. So I want to do like certain chapters that I read and then listen to the audio drama and then talk about those and do like kind of a recap, book report, book club type thing. And I may include some reactions to the audio drama or because that might be fun to include in there. But I've got a lot of Modao Zushi stuff planned for this summer. I really do. We got the Modao Zushi, the Chibis. I think the Chibi series I can get through pretty in a few weeks. I think I can get through the Chibi series and then start the Untamed. And the Untamed will probably go through the summer, and even to when season 3 starts, I might still be reacting to the Untamed. And then doing the novel and the audio drama like on the side and doing the book reviews for those. So there's a lot of Modao Zushi stuff to get through. So like I said, I'm not sad because this isn't the end of this series at all. And I'm not going to do the live stream yet. I want to wait until season 3 is done before we do the live stream. So I know I'm pushing it out. I'm pushing it to the side for now. I'm putting a little pin on it because we still have I'm hoping that by the time we do the live stream for Modao Zushi, we can talk about the Untamed, we can talk about the Donghua, we can talk about the audio drama and the novel. We can talk about all that together. I would like to do a big live stream with just all of that encapsulated, because that would be a lot to talk about and we could get a lot of different ideas bouncing back and forth for discussion on that. So that's kind of my thoughts on the live stream. So we're going to hold off on that for a bit. But yeah, so Modao Zushi Monday is not going anywhere. We're still going to be doing a lot of stuff on Monday. We'll get through Modao Zushi Q first and then start with the Untamed and then have the audio drama and stuff kind of sprinkled in there as I go. So Modao Zushi Mondays are still going to be a thing. It's just going to be a little bit modified now that we're waiting on season 3. And so I'll be keeping an eye out for those. But you guys, I said this in the opening. This is my first Donghua to watch, and I was really trepidatious about it at first because I was like, I feel like I'm not, my cultural horizons are not very broad in terms of anime and animated shows, but this has been such a breath of fresh air to see this show that's so fleshed out, that has such intriguing characters, and that is doing a story with so much mystery and intrigue. When I started this show, I thought it was just going to be like a fantasy action. I was like, oh, it's going to be fantasy action, and there's going to be magical powers and ghosts, and it'll be kind of cool. But the moment season 2 started, we had all this lead up and the conspiracies and framing Wuxin and trying to discover all that. Like, it's elevated so much beyond what I expected. And I'm so happy that you all requested this and that I got into this. So Woo from Patreon, Woo, you got me into this show, so thank you so much, because I'm sure I'm going to give you many shout outs when we do the live stream and everything else. But she was kind of the main reason I started this show, because she was like, you have to watch it. And I was like, okay. When, Haikyuu ends, we'll start Modao Zushi. Sure thing. And I'm so happy we did. So, I'm excited for season 3. I hope y'all are too. I hope you enjoyed this reaction. I'm so excited to hear your thoughts down below. Please do not spoil me. I am so excited to get into the other Modao Zushi content that is left to go. And we'll start Modao Zushi Q next week. And I'm really excited. So, in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And I'll be back next Monday with some more Modao Zushi. Bye.